Hello, welcome all of you again. This is our fifth day of the course. It's certainly a special day for me because I have with me my teachers from my school, St. Louis Institute for the Deaf and Blind. Um, with me is Mary Jerry. Madam has taught in the school for last 28 years. I asked her, Madam, how should I introduce? She said, nothing. I've been teaching in the school for this long. And I mean, that only shows her humility and a long commitment. The topic today is, or the theme today is, teaching science for deaf children. We have been last 4 days talking about the creation of new vocabulary, practices, methods, frameworks, all that stuff, even standardization. But this is the place, teaching and learning in school, where foundations are laid. And we are going to have a taste of it from ma'am and her colleagues here. And it's certainly a privilege to all of us. Without much speaking, I'll take the sideline. So ma'am can take over. Thank you, madam, for coming.
Good evening, viewers. The greatest gift of God on earth is the creation of human beings. That too, human beings are endowed with a lot of potentialities to prove their worth. The jobs they select count their values. In this way, teaching has become a nobler task. When it comes to the level of teaching, the special children with hearing difficulties, it becomes all the more challenging and entertaining. I, Mary Jerry, a representative of St. Louis Institute, Adair, has come here to enlighten the ways and means of educating the hearing impaired children with innovative methods. I am equally supported by my colleagues, Mrs. Celine Rani and Mr. Vasanta Kumar, both from my institute. They are here right now. I have been working in St. Louis Institute for the Deaf and the Blind for 28 years, handling science for classes 9 and 10. I have found my work quite interesting as children are found to be very much insecure. With the experience gained from this noble institution, I am here at the methodology of teaching science for the deaf. Let us now come to the subject for discussion. Classroom structure should be in U or square with the top shape. Students should observe the teacher's lip movement, and all students should also observe one another's lip movement because we are following the total communication method. So students should observe the lip movement of the teacher as well as the other students when they speak in the class. In primary classes, loop induction hearing aid should be provided. Why this induction is provided means because the small children move around the classes. So without any distraction, they can move here and there. because the induction loop will go on the top of the roof, and the children will hear with using this induction hearing aid. In higher classes, group hearing aid or portable hearing aid should be provided. This portable hearing aid is very much useful. We can teach the class in anywhere. We can teach out of the class. We can teach on the ground. In some other places, we can carry the portable hearing aid and we can teach the children by using only plug is needed to connect the hearing aid. Now, aims of teaching science for deaf students. Develop scientific attitude, to develop research attitude, acquire the skill to manipulate scientific instruments. Our children are very interested in minute things. They can operate a computer, they can give connection in the electric circuits and all. So they develop their scientific instruments in their field. To develop sketching ability among students. Know to compare or correlate science with natural environment. Stimulate scientific thinking. Appreciate the scientific thinking for their remarkable scientific contributions. Now let us come, what are the teaching aids are used in the science for teaching the science? We use the following teaching aids to science. That is visual aids like charts, flashcards, real objects, smartboard, PowerPoint presentation, etc. Field trips will be arranged. We take the children out of the school and show the various places, scientific connected places and all. Then the children will be getting the knowledge of the science. Science club will be organized. And cultural program for awareness will be initiated. Enacting the part. Visit to the garden and lab. Conducting science exhibition. Quiz program organized. Now these are the way we teach science for our hearing impaired children. Suppose I take the topic on health and hygiene. I should make the students to understand the following ways of maintaining health. They must know about the healthy and unhealthy appearance of a child. To know about the measures of maintaining a healthy body, to know more about the healthy state of eyes. Because hearing impaired children need eyes as a vital organ. The hearing impaired children, because of the hearing impaired children, eyes are the main source of learning and gathering information. With regards to maintaining the power of the eyes, the children should be advised to take nutritious food. They should not strain the eyes too much watching TV, mobile, computer, gadgets, etc. for long hours, and it should be avoided. Then constituents of food will be explained through flow chart. Real objects will be brought for explanation. While teaching higher class students, a bit more elaborated explanation of the eye should be taught, like functioning of the eyes, effect of it, and rectification of the eye. To explain this topic, a model of the eye, types of lenses like concave and convex lenses would be used. Students are asked to touch the concave and the convex lenses and identify the same. We will also ask about the other usage of these lenses in various other fields. All these will be replaced visually and with real objects. To protect the eyes, awareness measures. We should avoid fast food, eat lots of vitamin rich foods like vegetables and fruits. The teachers of our institution are given the responsibility to check whether the students are not wasting food, especially vegetables, during lunch break. So we explain that type model. We explain the eye with a model and its rectification. These are given in this picture. Suppose if I were to take the topic on plant cell, initially I would be drawing plant cell diagram on the blackboard, label the diagram, and then explain the cell organelles and their functions. Later, I would be dividing this assignment among the students in such a way that one student gets to draw the diagram and another student will label the diagram. Then I would be giving the role play to the students, wherein which each of them would enact the different parts of the cell organelles, such as mitochondria, nucleus, etc., etc. A student will come in front of the class and they explain the function of the mitochondria. They start like this: I am mitochondria, I am in oval shape, I'm in peanut shape, I am the powerhouse of the cell. Like that, each boy, according to the topic given, they will talk about the function of that cell organelles. So the other students will observe it and they can learn from the other students also. So they learn it easily in the classroom itself. To explain the concept of breathing mechanism of the plants, the students would be taken to a garden area and the practical demonstration would be conducted for the students. As part of this, I would be asking the students to tie a plastic cover on top of the plant's branches and instruct them to have a constant observation. Then the students will observe them and record their findings. Now, if I were to take a topic on physics, I would be explaining the types of inertia to the students. The types of inertia includes inertia of rest, inertia of motion, and inertia of direction. To explain the concept of inertia of rest, the students are instructed to fill the glass tumbler with water and place a cardboard on the top of the glass tumbler. A coin to be placed at the middle of the cardboard and ask the students to flick the cardboard alone. As a result of this experiment, the coin falls into the water and the cardboard falls to the ground. By this way, I can explain the inertia of rest. In the same way, I would be explaining the other two types of inertia related to our day-to-day life. That is, inertia of motion and inertia of direction. I would be explaining the inertia of motion in the long jump event where the athletes run to a distance and then jump. This is to increase the distance and their jump. Our students are very good in sports, so I can tell by showing a person, a student, and explain this inertia of motion. I would be explaining the inertia of direction with the shaking of a tree. When you vigorously shake the branches of the tree, some dry leaves and fruits fall down. By doing this, the student will understand the concept inertia of direction. In order to explain the Newton's third law, I would be using the example of birds fly, swimmers in swimming, bullet from the gun, etc. These instances show and prove the third law. And I asked the students to collect pictures of scientists. So the pictures of scientists are to be collected and the students are motivated to do so. While teaching chemistry, I will explain the topic by showing real objects and taking the students to the lab to do the experiment. If I would be teaching the electronic configuration in chemistry, explaining this, we take into account the three color house division in our school. We have three houses in our school, Manford, Gabriel, and Louis group. So they wear different color t-shirt. So I bring the children to the ground and ask them to draw a concentric circle as a model of an atom. One color t-shirt represents proton and other neutron, and the third color as electrons. Protons and neutrons stand together in the center of the circle. In the first orbit, 2 electrons, and in the second orbit, 8 electrons, and in the third orbit, the remaining electrons. Likewise, I ask the students to stand, and the students will easily understand the electronic configuration. By this, the students understand the concept of electronic configuration and arrive at the result. Once in 2 years, we conduct science exhibition in our school. This will promote the innovative ideas of the students under the guidance of teachers. Through this exhibition, they not only improve the skills but also understand so many other new ideas. Thus, the purpose of science exhibition is achieved successfully. Thousands of students have visited our school to see this exhibition, and they all appreciated our students. The boy, one who is standing here, is very good in doing electronic mechanism and all. He do everything. All these are working model done by our students. These children are from 10th standard and now they are studying in 12th standard. In 2018, this exhibition conducted. Thank you for watching this video. Since the deaf children have a shorter memory, they are drilled for short question answers and objective type questions. More writing work is allotted for retaining the memory. This is done with the exam point of view. We have to teach the student very slow and only they can understand easily. Yes, when you one atom or one element combine element. So example. See, carbon, another element. O2 is another element. Use what? CO2. So here, one element combines with another element gives a compound. So this reaction is called what? This reaction is called what? Combination reaction. Listen, combine. Combination. Nowadays, online class is found to be effective because of this corona pandemic season. Since it is corona pandemic season, we are taking online class for these children. And you can have a glimpse of it. All are happy. We can have breakfast in the morning or finish your breakfast. Good. You feel healthy now? Healthy? Okay. Every day you take breakfast in the morning, you take breakfast. Why? Afternoon. What about afternoon? You will take lunch. In the afternoon also you take lunch. Why should you? Afternoon and also in the night. Is it necessary? this combination reaction, for example, two elements combine to get one compound. Suppose it is A. A is an element combines with B is a compound and hydrogen is an element to get water. Water is in which water is a compound. So this reaction is called combination reaction. Combination of two elements. Two elements combine to get a compound. Understand? Two elements combine combination reaction. Now you understand? Here it is element plus element. In some other cases. Okay, in this way we take the class for children online class. Okay, so the students are benefited by taking the online class. The steps taken to impart the knowledge of science to the deaf children are really a tiresome task. Models are brought, charts are displayed, PowerPoint program is on, quiz session in progress, and science club made effective. So these are effective steps. The deaf children will have a lasting memory only when things are visually displayed. It is only the grasping power with the power of the eye. The students retain the fact. So, great effort has to be put in for virtual display. The students understand and observe the content as the theme gets fully portrayed in visual form. So, dear friends, by now you will be in a position to understand the method of teaching the deaf. Though the method is quite challenging, it is made effective and interesting only by the approach that you have. Take up the work with a sense of dedication. Leave out your personal problems. Be in one with the level of the children and try to gain their favor. If you achieve this, your method works out successful. Through trial and error method, this could be achieved. To conclude, I would like to thank the IIT professionals for offering me this fruitful chance of interaction. Thanks for your cooperation. Let us make the nation strong with gifted children more effective. Thank you. Thank you. Do you have any questions?
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Yeah.
I think it was a really nice presentation of how a science class would look like.
Thank you.
So, Dr. Hay?
Nita, do we have questions?
We don't have any questions so far yet.
But you may have some.
Yes, I have some.
And I also have. So
Please go ahead first.
No, I would recommend you go first.
Okay, all right. So, like you mentioned,
You sit me. Yeah. Anita, go ahead.
Okay, all right. You could hear me, Ma?
Yeah, I can hear.
Okay. So, absolutely nice once again to see your presentation. So this is definitely, like you said, at the end is not all easy going, and there are definitely a lot of challenges. So what, according to you, is the biggest challenge that you have faced?
Now, initially, I was very struggled by communicating the subject through sign language. When I was new to the school, firstly, I was joined in the blind section only, where sir studied, isn't it? So that itself I found difficult, but still I managed to take for the blind children. After this, I was taken to that deaf section, and formally it was very difficult for me. Through trial and error only, I got this succeeded.
Okay. Right. So I was curious to ask that question because I'm an educator of deaf children as well. So I see the biggest challenge we face is the language. So when we have to go into higher classes, it depends heavily on what language that they have come with from the lower classes, right? So, because hearing ability is not there, so a lot of information, lot of what we call as the incidental learning is missing, which we find as educators sometimes very challenging. And so we have to adopt, like you said, a lot of activities and lot of visual aids and a lot of experiential learning with a lot of discussions with children as to what they have experienced drawing from that. So yes, so I just wanted to add that comment.
Actually, Nita, the thing is, this is what all children need, irrespective of their disability. See, we cannot take children, ask them to dump them in the class. I speak, you listen. Which is what is happening in the mainstream school. In fact, learning by doing is the best way forward for all learning environments. In fact, this Adam calls trials and errors. In fact, these trials and errors can inform this mode of learning by teachers can actually inform mainstream education. That's what I would say. What do you think?
Yes, you're right. And I think ma'am has clearly said, and that's an example of a great attitude and feeling that a teacher should have or an educator should have, to take failures with a pinch of salt, but then learn from it and then just do better. So that's a very great attitude and a skill to be able to reflect upon oneself and one's work. So absolutely, I second what you said.
I particularly like these two examples, the t-shirts, different colors, circles, atom structure, atom, electron, neutron, proton, and all that. And the idea of shaking tree branch and learning directional principles.
Yeah.
So I was sort of visualizing myself doing it.
Yes. That's really interesting. I mean, these are, like you said, Dr. Haim, I mean, whatever we do for as special things that we think are special but are useful for everybody. It's the way the education is today, which probably needs to accommodate this and ensure everybody's benefited.
Yes. And teaching by passion, the long commitment that also makes everything possible. But I have a question, madam. Is there any particular subject or subjects which you saw as a children are more keen than others? I mean, are they more keen on sciences than, say, history or English? Or is there anything you found out by experience, batch and batch, somebody taking to certain fields of inquiry more fondly than others? Are they taking like science more? Is that science more their favorite than history?
Yeah.
Is there anything?
Maths, they do maths.
Or they take to
maths.
So that
Other than the science, they are very interested, but not the theory part. Only the practical part, they are very much interested. Yeah, by doing and repair works and all, they are very much interested. And so I can say science they prefer more.
Science prefer.
Yeah.
There is actually, it's a great statement. It's so, there is strong foundations in school, but higher education is not catching up for science and engineering education for deaf children.
Because for higher studies, they have to take science in the higher secondary school classes and all, but they find difficult that chemistry equations and physics laws and all, they find difficult sometimes.
So maybe colleges, they have to do more to make.
For deaf children, they don't have a college for science and all. Only arts, the economics, commerce, like that. The third group they select. That's the only way they are. Otherwise, no other way to go. No science group and all in schools and colleges for the deaf children.
Same holds for blind people and many other disabilities. At higher level, they don't. They're not supposed well enough to do science. And
That's true.
So, if I may add, I think it is like you asked, math and science, and sometimes geography, because some things that they can relate to and they can visualize and see immediately, tangible. All these theories, if they are not, taught to them in a way that they can relate to, that is where we lose those children. We lose their understanding and they're away from that subject. So I personally place a lot of onus on the teachers because I'm a teacher myself. So we place the onus on the teacher on how do we make the subject interesting for children. And to your other question, Dr. Haim, about why going to the higher classes they find it very difficult. The underlying challenge that I have seen is the case of language. The language is the biggest challenge for deaf children because of the delayed language input.
Acquisition. If it is delayed, it find difficult for the children to cope up this language.
Right, right. Like we have been looking at in this workshop for the last 3-4 days of language is accessed by deaf children. So because they are born, 95% of them are born to hearing families. So lack of hearing and identification that they are hearing, they are deaf itself happens a little late. So the either the assistive devices or the different way of language starts very late, starting with a negative scorecard, if I may say so. So catching up is always it's always a catching up race. Or, going side by side until unless the language is input earlier on. So, which is why we've been saying sign language is very visual and very important to start with. So it can go along with any other form of communication. So that is what all of the senior devs and all of them are advocating for, to see that deaf children don't lose out on the world race that they will be getting into later on. So which is why they don't take up higher education so passionately, because they don't have that foundational base. Because when they go to school for first standard, they all usually a lot of the other children have prerequisite information before they go in. Some language already ready with them.
Correct. Either English.
Either English or whatever language is at home. Formal reading, writing happens in school. But deaf children get into school without that language base and are completely lost when they are having to, start reading, writing in a formal way already, and of a language that they're not introduced to. So, that is a big challenge that we find, and it is something that we all need to work together. I mean, the paraprofessionals, the medical professionals, and also the teachers, all of us put together.
Definitely.
And the parent cooperation must be there. They have to accept the child is deaf. Some parents, they won't accept. They keep them at home and wait for a long time, and they will not get that language acquisition. So that's the main problem. But in the beginning stage itself, 0 to 3 years is the crucial period. At that time only that child must just get this language acquisition.
You're right.
Very important point, because more we delay, more unnatural the language acquisition becomes. So that is,
Thank you. I really enjoy discussing this. I have some questions here in the chat. If I may ask, ma'am, can I ask you those questions? Okay. So we have from Navi. Do you have blind or deaf teachers to teach the blind or deaf children in your institution?
Yeah, we have blind teachers. Blind teachers teaching for the blind children. They use the braille, this one and all, na? They can teach, but for the deaf students, we have drawing teacher. One drawing teacher is a deaf student. Our old student is now appointed as a drawing teacher. They are very good in drawing also. The deaf children are very brilliant, and they draw anything. They draw Abdul Kalam's picture, anything they are well up in doing this drawing and all.
there are drawing classes.
Classes is there. Drawing classes is allotted, and it is included in our timetable. Once in 2 days in a week, they have drawing classes.
Again, training for the hands to visualize, come up with pictures.
Yeah.
It becomes a very important training.
Yeah. We have to make charts, flashcards, everything we have to carry when you go to class. Otherwise, we find difficult to teach, communicate that subject. That's the main problem. As I said earlier, they have got the short-term memory. Now, if they study, next time they forget.
Maybe more distractions as children.
No, they cannot go and stay register in their mind because no hearing enough. This blind children means they can hear all the sounds, vocabulary acquisition is there, so they find difficult. Only thing that locomotion they find difficult. Ability is lacking for that blind children. So, but this is a we say the hearing impairment is a hidden disability. We cannot see by his appearance. By seeing the appearance, we cannot see. They look like normal. When we approach only, we can find this boy is deaf, that girl is deaf.
Yes, it is definitely a hidden disability.
Yes.
I would like to also talk a little about the short-term memory that you mentioned.
Yeah.
Is it that all deaf have short-term memory, or is it because of the language? It is because of the delay in language, the lack of vocabulary and language, and the way of teaching to ensure that they remember concepts for long, and constant use of that knowledge, whatever they have gained. I think that would be that, because in my experience also, I have seen a lot of people say that deaf can't remember, they will forget. I sometimes feel it may be a stereotype that we all are giving. It is probably time for us to reflect and see why is it that they are unable to remember. I don't think it is something neurological, but it is probably the way that they receive information.
And also delay in language.
Absolutely.
That's the main problem.
That's the main problem, yes.
Yeah.
They don't have the language. Even they learn that so we have only one language we teach in the school. We don't have two languages. But, blind and the normal, they have two languages. If they study in English medium, they have to learn the Tamil. But for our deaf children, they follow only one language. And moreover, at school, they use that language. At home, they use some other language. The parents communicate with the children with some other language. Then there is again
yes.
Yeah.
What sign language do you think? Indian
Not
sign language.
particular like that. Because we have children from different states, different country. Formerly, we had children from different parts of the world also. From Andaman and from Sri Lanka. Nowadays, they are we have a reduced number. Still, we have some children from other states also. They follow their this one like sign language in their place, and when they come here, we cannot follow their sign language. They have to adapt the sign language what we use.
How important do you feel is sign language for teaching?
Sign language, without sign language, we cannot teach.
Yeah. True, and I completely agree.
Fundamental.
Yeah.
Completely agree.
Yeah.
Completely. So, see, Neeta, this is said by a teacher. I mean, that means sign language is the basic.
Yes.
And it can be violated.
Yes. Yeah. But yeah, you're right. I wish all teachers would say this. I really wish, yes. And yeah, and all teachers, I really wish will take up sign language the way it is, and not use it as a aid and second to a spoken language, because then again the intent is lost of wanting them to build on a language. So what I mean to say is sign language should be taken as the first language for them, and then we can teach a second language through sign language. Like how we learn mother tongue at home, and then when we go to school, then we learn 2 or 3 other languages. It's that. But currently, it is the other way around. Yeah. So it is. That's something I really wish. Okay, I have another question. Sorry. Yeah, go.
Yeah, now the message is very widely, so we can do something.
Okay, so we have, ma'am, considering the institutional learning for such differently abled students is more practical and field-based, the education system for them is better than for mainstream students. I know there are implications involved in disabled teaching, but considering only imparting of education, is it more simpler and useful and educative for them than usual students? Quite a long question.
I think fundamentally, he or she is asking about, is it more easy, or what is the question, Nita?
Yeah, I know that there are implications involved in disabled teaching, but considering only imparting of education, is it more simpler and useful and educative for them than usual kids?
Is it more? What is the role played by education? That is how I understand it.
Yeah. This is a question from Hitisha, so you can probably tell us if we have answered your question or not. If you are asking about the practical ways and methods of teaching that is adopted for deaf or blind or any other students, yeah, you said differently able students. So all of these methods that are used for teaching, is that simpler and useful to also use for other students? If that is your question, definitely yes. Dr. Haim and ma'am, you will also agree.
Yeah.
Any teaching method which involves practical, hands-on experience always benefits everybody.
That's the magic of the learning by doing and learning by playing. That's it.
Yeah.
The rest is excess.
Okay, so Hitesh confirms that was her question, and I'm glad we got your question right. Okay, thank you for that. We have Sarita asking us a question. Is there any special training which teachers undergo before teaching deaf or blind kids?
Yeah, there is
trained in ISL as well.
Yeah, we have training. Before we have to, if you want to take the class deaf or blind, we have to undergo deaf training or blind training, and the deaf trained teacher cannot teach the blind students. Likewise, otherwise also.
Right. Yes, there are DED and BEd courses.
Apart from that, we have to undergo training for the deaf children.
DED in HI or DED in VI?
Yeah.
Diploma courses?
Diploma courses.
You've got diploma and bachelor's in education?
Yeah, first we have to finish the Bachelor of Education. After that, only we go for diploma
in teaching the blind.
Teaching the blind.
Oh, okay. Because there is a diploma in education, it's called the DSC, Diploma in Special Education. There is a diploma in special education,
Yeah, yeah.
and you can teach hearing impaired children. So it's called DSC HI.
Not
We also
BSc,
have B.Ed HI.
not B.Ed HI, B.Ed HI.
B.Ed HI. Yeah, I've done B.Ed HI.
Yeah, yeah.
So there is. Sorry, I didn't hear your question.
No, it was not question. I'm just, HI is hearing impaired.
Hearing impaired. Yes. Yeah, right. Just to clarify, yeah. HI is hearing impaired, VI is visually impaired, other disabilities also there. Yeah. So yes, we do have formal training that teachers have to undergo to become teachers of deaf. And added to that, do you get trained in ISL? Well, yes, they have added. Earlier it was not there in your time.
But now it may be there, I think.
Yes, early on it was not there, but it has been introduced in the B.Ed courses and D.Ed courses for 60 hours.
Oh, wow. That's
Very minimal. It's very minimal, actually. So, but still, it is an introduction, and
introduction.
yeah, we need to try and improve that. But I'd like to clarify that's not at all enough. Those many hours of training is just not enough. You can't learn a language. Right. Okay. Correct. So I think we have taken this question. This is from Kartika. She asks, is it right to say that all deaf students have short-term memory? I think we discussed that.
We're done.
Got your answer, yes. Okay, so Kartika's got another question which says, why are the deaf learners not taught English from the primary classes itself? Why are they exempted from learning languages?
I think we answered this same problem because they come to school late. There is a language, so it's a social, it's not a neurological, neuromnemonic problem. It is a social problem. That I think that's the reason.
And there is an added element to this, which is you've got two different schools that a deaf child can go to, either a deaf school or to a mainstream school. So if it is the deaf school, you have to see which language or medium that it's being taught in. Is it an English deaf school or a Tamil or whatever the regional language is being used? Same goes for the mainstream school. So which kind of school is the child going to? Is it an English medium or so on and so forth? The other question I see along with what you're asking is, why is there language exemption for deaf children? There is, yes, ma'am.
Yeah, already I told you, no, one language itself is fine. They find difficult to learn the single language because some children, they talk Tamil at home, and when they come to school, if they are put in the English medium classes, and they find difficult. After that, they go back and they don't understand what the parents talk. So that's the problem. So we cannot go for two languages for the deaf children.
I think I can also relate to that because even see to this day, even if somebody is doing a PhD, say in chemistry, English still remains terrorizing when they are coming from certain background and they have not internalized English and they all their life they have been speaking Tamil or Hindi and English remains foreign and frightening for many of us who cannot practice English culturally. English just remains a language of formal learning, and therefore it remains frighteningly strange for most of us. I think something similar is happening here. What do you think, both of you? Nita? Is there a...
True only.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. And earlier on, actually, how this started, I'll just give you a small brief about that. When we had the 1995 PWD Act.
People with Disability Act.
Yes, People with Disabilities Act. And it was at around that time where many people felt that deaf children should have exemptions for languages because they were finding it very difficult to learn the second or third language systems that we have in India. So 3 language systems. So that is the point when they said, okay, then the deaf children should learn just one language and not to burden them to learn a second or a third language. So that was the intention at that point in time. But even going on from then, it was still found that language was still not, even having just one language exemption, they were not very fluent or very good at the language that was being taught to them. Simply because it was already a second language for them, which is a hearing language or a spoken language. The first language, sign language, was not taught in schools, or it was not used as a medium to teach the second language. So that is the underlying thing. And also to add, Mr. Gopalakrishnan, who was there for the first 3 days, he is a big advocate of English being a common language for deaf students to learn right from beginning. We know that there are challenges for rural children coming from rural areas or any other places also, but he strongly advocates that English should be there because of the fact that when they grow up and go into colleges, it is very difficult to find local language colleges, Tamil medium, or, for example, any other medium colleges. So it's mostly English, and they're suddenly having to shift from a very different language to English in college level. Yes, ideally, if all schools for deaf have English, maybe it will be good. I don't know, because I debate myself in my head, right, about the language that they will be using at home.
It's a conundrum, Rita.
Yeah, don't have a right answer for it.
Yeah, on the one hand, English is hard for many from certain places and background. On the other hand, we need that for global connectivity, common. So we have to work somewhere in between to teach and also to keep it in control. And so we have to somewhere work in between, teachers and professionals and all of us,
Right.
parents, all the stakeholders.
Yeah. Yes. Okay, I don't know if. All right. So this is a question from Ritika. What is the contribution of parents for the deaf children? Do they pick up ISL after their children start school? If not, how does communication at home take place?
And how do they learn before they come? What do they speak at home?
Do parents of deaf children learn sign language? If not, they communicate at home.
They use sign language with the parents. They communicate with the parents only through sign language.
Sign language of home, no? It's not necessarily ISL.
No need to follow ISL.
It's just their home,
Yeah.
local.
Yeah. Local science.
Yes. Okay. Another question from Kartika. She says, "Ma'am, can you tell us how long you took to learn sign language and your journey as well? And it would be nice if Mr. Amresh could also narrate his journey as well. It will be very inspiring for us."
I learned sign language from the students only. I didn't go for any other language class, sign language course and all. I just write it on the board and I ask the student, what is the sign for this? For this word, I just got from the students only.
This is the spirit of teaching.
Yeah. Great. Yeah, so yeah, Kartika wants to know my journey as well. So Kartika, today I'm going to break a surprise or something that you didn't know, maybe, I don't know. But Amresh, who's here interpreting, he's actually my brother. And both of us are born to deaf parents, deaf adults. So we also have another acronym attached to our name, which is called CODA, which is CODA, which means Child or Children of Deaf Adults. So sign language was our first language at home because both my parents use sign language. And we learned our second language later on. First language that we spoke at home or used at home was sign language. So Amresh, would you like to share anything that I have not said because she would like to know?
Maybe sign language, fight between brother and sister in sign language.
In fact, we prefer to sign to each other. He's saying yes. He's nodding his head very quickly to say yes, we fight. But yeah, we really like and are more comfortable using sign language when we speak to each other also. If given a chance, we would just talk in sign language rather than anything else.
And did you have your own home sign language apart from ISL?
Not that specific, but yes, there are some which we share with our friends and yeah, so Amresh is saying something. So he's saying that is probably coming under slang. That probably may come under slang. But what Amresh is saying is because our father, Mr. Gopalakrishnan, used a lot of sign language, proper sign language. So we didn't have home signs per se, because we were directly using ISL from him.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you for that question, Kartika. Okay, I think we have. Yes. Hitisha asks another question. Ma'am, as we see the representation of differently abled people to be low in public offices or any institutions is less than maybe 5%. How much is the representation of such differently disabled people in working positions of your institute or even in the places you've worked? Is it enough or do you think it should further improve?
Of course,
yeah. Go ahead. Sorry for interrupting you.
She's asking the employment opportunities.
Yeah, one thing I want to say, one of my students is working in the Rajya Sabha. Delhi Rajya Sabha. He is very good in English. but he's a deaf student. Now he is in Rajya Sabha. Yeah, he's earning lakhs.
Oh, wow. See,
I'm very much proud.
yeah, the pride of a teacher.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is what I was going to say.
Really, really.
The pride of a teachers and parents are boundless. Always.
Yeah.
Mm.
Great. So I think we have, this is probably our last question.
Okay.
It's an interesting one, and this has caused a lot of debate around, but I will read it out. It says, what is the right terminology to refer to deaf learners? Is it hearing impaired or deaf? And what is appropriate?
Yeah. Should we call them deaf people, deaf children, or hearing impaired children?
Hearing impaired children. We call them. If we now earlier we called them as deaf. Now we call them as hearing impaired. The same way we called earlier we called blind as blind, and now we call them visually impaired or visually challenged. Hearing challenged, because they as a special gifted child, like that we introduce them.
Yeah, to give my perspective on that from looking at the deaf community, many of them um, it is still not very clearly said, but most of them prefer to be called deaf. If it is in English terminology, if it is deaf, they prefer to be termed as deaf instead of hearing impaired. Because over the years and after understanding the English language a little better, they feel that impaired word actually talks about something that is not right.
Missing.
Missing, yes. Something that is missing, something that shows that I don't have. But deaf seems to be more neutral and positive sometimes, is what they feel. But in our laws and in our government documents and all of it, hearing impaired is very much used. Speech and hearing impaired is also another term that is being used. Now, handicapped is used much lesser now.
Yeah, it's becoming lesser now.
Lesser, true. But deaf has gotten its way into the RPWD Act now. So the term deaf, they have included.
In deaf 2016.
2016. Rights of the Persons with Disabilities Act, yes.
One of the thing is parents, teachers, primary caregivers of children, they also go through a journey. I mean, accepting, as Madam pointed out, it's accepting deafness of the child is not going to happen overnight. So probably during those days of non-acceptance, they would rather prefer a medically neutral term. And then when positivity, when that child grows up, becomes an adult, say Rajya Sabha member, and so on, and then deafness, deaf culture, deaf pride, linguistic minority, and other notions come in. I think it's also a journey, personal journey people make, and when they make such a journey, they also pick up different terms as they go. That may be an explanation, I'm not sure.
Yes, I agree. Are there any more questions, participants?
Okay, I think we are done.
Yes.
Thank you, madam. Thank you all. It is such a I mean, we went to the foundations now in the 5th day of our course by listening to teachers. Nita herself is a teacher. The teachers here. For me personally, it's like going back to my school. It's a kind of just telling Madam, I was doing more of the games and play and, you know, all those things at my school first time.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I really enjoyed watching your presentation, and I'm so inspired that you're working for 28 years.
Yeah.
And you talk about, trial and error, and still, even after so many years of experience, and that
Yeah.
shows true teacher attitude. So thank you so much for being here and inspiring. I enjoyed this discussion with you. Thank you, Dr.
Nita.
Thank you.
for arranging this. Thank you
And all
for beautiful questions. Yes.
take care, all of you. Yeah.
Thank you.
Nita.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Karthik.